A positive result or success of an athlete does not necessarily reflect a healthy, sustainable, or smart training program. That's a big challenge because what can happen is you do things that are not ideal, maybe not super healthy, but you end up having a good outcome, and you connect that outcome to the process that you followed. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but it can be, especially in the short term, and especially when you are working on qualities that are very, very low and undertrained. So for example, if I take an athlete who is like 16 years old, has never done any strength training. They've played their sport, they've jumped, all that. Their lowest hanging fruit is strength. More strength will help improve their performance. So they go in the gym and they start lifting heavy 6 days a week for like 4 months, and they get stronger and they get faster and more powerful. And they think, wow, I put on muscle, faster, more powerful, everything is better because I'm lifting intensely 6 days a week. That's not a smart training plan. It's not sustainable and it's not going to help them in the future. But because it created short-term success, because they were working on their lowest hanging fruit, that quality that they had never trained before, they saw positive results. So when you have an untrained quality or a neglected quality, such as mobility, strength, power, cardiovascular fitness, and you throw something at it, anything, it's going to improve. Usually for the short term, and then it'll plateau or get worse or you'll burn out. So we just have to be aware that when we're training something and it's really, really low in our ability and our capacity, it's going to improve almost no matter what we do, assuming we're somewhat consistent. But those gains are not necessarily going to continue, and they're not necessarily going to be sustainable. I do a lot of mobility and joint focus training with my athletes to improve their capacity for movement, resilience, etc. And one of the consistent things that happens is that people will start a mobility routine. They'll start doing some cars, some joint rotations, 5 minutes a day, active stretching. They'll immediately start feeling better because that capacity, that mobility is so undertrained. Anything extra that they do is going to provide a significant benefit. So they connect that, okay, like it's still an afterthought, 5 minutes a day of doing this stuff and I feel way better. But in order to continue to see progress and really dive in and make changes, they need to progress that, spend more time and energy on it, but oftentimes it stops at the really superficial level because they've connected that short-term result with a strategy that really isn't that effective in the long term. So just because something has worked in the past and just because something works in the short term does not mean it's a good long-term strategy. So it's important to think about when I've had success before, or if I'm having success now, is this a quality that was really, really undertrained? And is that a big reason for the success? Or is this something I've been working on for a while and I've seen success because I'm using a strategy that is effective and sustainable and healthy?